It all kicks off in the year 2045, when countless portals just decided to pop up out of nowhere on Blue Star. A massive horde of monsters came pouring out and went entirely on the offensive. Right after this sudden doomsday scenario, these critters started taking over with zero effort, and the human race took a nosedive into the ultimate survival struggle. The kicker: conventional firearms basically just tickled them, only being useful for taking down the absolute bottom-tier demon beasts. Meanwhile, the high-level monsters tanked explosions like it was nothing, or just casually dodged attacks like they were on a Sunday stroll. That's when, right in the middle of all the panic, the surviving humans stumbled upon a mysterious, never-before-seen gas called Origin Chi. Then, right after the first large-scale use of thermal weapons, a level 8 monster known as the Blood Moon Wolf spawned out of thin air. Leading the charge, this oversized furball wrecked humanity without breaking a sweat, forcing everyone to fall back for good and vow never to press the nuke button again. But hope wasn't completely down the drain. Enter humanity's very first martial artist, now the absolute #1 guy on the planet, affectionately known as the Tao God. After a wildly intense brawl that dragged on for 3 straight days and nights, he finally managed to knock the block off that terrifying creature. And just like that, a brand new era totally focused on martial arts began for the entire population. The only catch: very few people actually had the talent for it. To even be considered a 1-star fighter, a person had to hit some seriously ridiculous goals in vitality, physical strength, and speed through super strict tests. From then on, becoming a stronger martial artist became everyone's ultimate life goal, trying to level up non-stop through the 4 major realms of power. Exactly 50 full years have rolled by since these game-changing events rewrote world history. Cut to the present, our MC is staring down a giant nightmare, Fuel Crow glowing a bright blood red. Without even a chance to blink, he takes a brutal hit right to the chest, suffering like crazy from the impact of that heavy, hitting strike. Waking up with a massive jump in the real world, the MC leaps out of his classroom desk totally spooked, sweating like he just saw the Grim Reaper himself. While trying to catch his breath and wiping his face, he quickly realizes he's safe and sound at his city's martial arts high school over in Nani province. Chenmu leans on his desk to chill out, but he can't shake the fact that he just had that same agonizing nightmare yet again. Cue the teacher, who calls him out super loud in front of the whole class, acting all outraged and demanding to know how he has the nerve to sleep during a lecture. Holding the practice test results, the guy drops the bomb that our boy ranked dead last, and per school rules, he's officially getting the boot. Seeing the big red expelled stamp on the paper, Chenmu can't believe his ears and asks instructor Zhao if there hasn't been some kind of mistake. But the teacher gives a short, brutal answer. He claims the tests are totally fair, telling the student to go cry to his parents and clear out his locker within 3 days. The kid goes into shock as the weight of those words hits him. Once that deadline passes, he can never set foot in that place again. Clenching his fists in total frustration, he tries to argue that he's been training his tail off lately and begs for just one more shot. In his mind, there's still some precious time left before the big national exam. Because of that, he figures if he keeps grinding, he might still pass. Adjusting his glasses, Zhao says he knows the kid put in the work and even had high hopes for him, but reminds him that in this harsh world, talent is what actually makes the rules. The guy keeps raining on his parade, pointing out that he's the first kid in 10 years of teaching whose vitality actually dropped instead of going up. Chenmu knows exactly why ever since he started having that weird bird nightmare. His stats have been going downhill for no logical reason, with his points dropping like a rock. The gap between his current strength and the passing grade is only getting wider by the minute. Meanwhile, the other students start laughing in his face, making jokes about how he works out just to get weaker, and how his future is going to be hauling bricks at a construction site. The instructor smacks the chalkboard demanding instant silence, reminding these slackers that there are only 30 days left until the martial arts exam. Riding that wave, he drops a friendly little threat: the bottom 10 of the class will also get kicked to the curb. Using Chenmu's epic fail as a prime example. Taking it all in silence and feeling totally humiliated, our MC just ducks his head, staring thoughtfully at his own bandaged, calloused hands. Worry takes over his whole brain. If he can't actually get into a martial arts university, his family's financial future is completely toasted. He sadly thinks about his sick mom who can't go without her meds, and his sister who's gonna need a ton of resources to train, feeling like he's become totally useless. Then, some old memories bubble up, taking him back to when his mom, even though she was weak and unwell, would try to talk him into resting instead of training so hard. The image of his dad working his fingers to the bone down at the docks also pops up. Chenmu beats himself up inside, wondering how he's gonna have the guts to face them after this. He even remembers his little sister giving up her own meat at dinner, smiling and saying his body needed the fuel way more. That girl always had blind faith in him, bragging with her chest puffed out that her big bro was absolutely guaranteed to get into the university. Back then, she was happily planning out their future, saying the two of them would make bank together, so they could give their tired parents a good life. But reality is currently crushing him flat. He knows his sister is a brilliant prodigy, while he just turned into a burden, failing at the whole big brother thing. Snapping back to the real world, the teacher gives him a cold stare and tells him to stop daydreaming, making it pretty clear his ship has officially sailed. Fast forward to outside the school, walking toward the gate with his head down. The other students are still dunking on him, calling him a walking joke behind his back. The weather perfectly matches his miserable mood. A heavy thunderstorm starts pouring from the sky while he walks down the lonely sidewalk. Feeling completely empty and lost in his own bad vibes, the MC crosses the street soaking wet, without a single clue what to do with his life from today on. Suddenly, a familiar face walks down the pavement holding an umbrella, getting his attention to ask if the awful rumor about him getting expelled was actually true. Identified as Wang Yu, his old high school buddy, the guy tries to offer some fake comfort, telling him not to let it get him down too much. But his bro mask drops in a flash, showing off an evil look as he claims this was the school's first lesson to prove that now, he's totally on his own. Carrying that heavy reality check, Chenmu heads back to his rented room. He crashes on the narrow bed, thinking about how his parents spent top dollar to get him that place. He bitterly reflects that, up until recently, this same snobby kid and all the teachers were constantly hyping him up and respecting him back when his grades were top tier. Everything fell apart exactly 1 month ago, since that unlucky, fateful day. He's been haunted every single night by the garbage vision of the Red Crow. Desperation pushed him to train like a madman and sleep less to avoid the nightmares, but that massive effort did absolutely squat for him. Going through that was pure agony. Today marked exactly 30 times he got pecked to pieces by that infernal monster in his sleep. Making a drastic choice, he takes off his wrist device and decides to hit up his landlady, opting to ditch the place for good since he can't afford it anymore. Through the virtual call, he explains to the woman that he got kicked out of school and has no reason to stay, making it clear she can take the keys back. As soon as he ends the call, the kid puts his head back on the pillow, closing his eyes in the dark, even though he knows exactly what's coming. Like clockwork, he wakes up again inside the familiar ruined scenery, noticing with pure annoyance that he landed right back in hell. The blood crow quickly swoops in looking majestic. This kind of critter is the absolute apex predator among level 1 beasts, easily outclassing a rookie human. The monster opens its beak, letting out a super threatening screech that echoes through the rubble, showing it's ready to slice and dice the kid one more time. Pure rage takes over Chenmu's heart as he stares it down. That overgrown pigeon sucked away all his vitality, ruined his training, and trashed his shot at the university. Wasting zero time, the winged beast charges at him, ripping through the air and sinking its claws right into the target, making our MC scream in pain. The monster's rush is way too heavy to block, and it ends up tearing Chenmu's left arm, drawing a lot of blood and shredding his clothes right off the bat. Even wounded and backed into a corner, he grabs his bleeding arm and lets his fury loose, totally refusing to accept the dirty look the creature is giving him. Staring deep into the beast's reddish eyeball, the kid yells that his whole future is gone because of it, and he's not taking any more disrespect in this place. Using every last drop of his willpower, Chenmu focuses pure energy into his good hand, sparking up a golden, fiery aura around his clenched fist. As the bird goes in for another strike, the kid goes full berserk mode and decides to bet it all on this counterattack, swearing he's gonna end this walking disaster right here. Launching off the ground fast and hard, he twists his body with anger and throws a wild uppercut straight at the cocky opponent. The heavy hit tears through the wind as the kid lets out a battle cry, putting absolutely all his pent-up frustration into that glowing punch. Amazingly, the strike lands dead center. The giant crow gets launched into the air by the impact of the flames, losing feathers and totally wiping out. Right after the energy blast from the attack, an intensely bright light blinds Chenmu, who lets out a painful groan as he feels his head throbbing. Completely dizzy and feeling like he's floating in a red dimension, he gets hit with a killer headache. Feeling like a mental lock just got smashed open. Suddenly, his left eye starts glowing with a scary, burning red light, clearly showing that his body's normal limits just got thrown out the window. A massive, unstoppable beam of light crashes down from the sky like a godly pillar, smashing into the ruined ground with insane power, right in the middle of his mental battlefield. Riding that mysterious blessing surrounding him, the MC triggers a golden purification state that buffs his bones and cleans up his battle wounds. Absolutely blown away by the aura flowing non-stop through his body, he realizes with awe that he just unlocked telekinesis, a super rare power straight out of the legends. Standing in the wasteland with sparks flying off his hand, Chenmu is just stunned, Trying to process what in the world just happened, he realizes, amazed, that he actually managed to obliterate the Blood Crow, the max-level monster that gives fighters literal nightmares. The MC thinks about how telekinesis is supposed to be exclusively for the big shots in the Saint realm. It's totally wild that he unlocked this power without even hitting 1-star strength. The kid sighs in frustration, bummed out that this is all just a dream, since in the real world he doesn't even have the juice to beat a wild dog. With the mental fight wrapped up, he slowly closes his eyes as the illusion starts fading away. Waking up with a jolt, the teen sits up panting in his bed, completely confused by what just went down in his nightmare. Still sitting in his dark room, the student stares at his own hands, trying to figure out if he actually went through some kind of change. Right then, he feels his whole body overflowing with pure power, noticing his brain feels about 10 times faster and sharper than before. To settle his doubts, Chenmu decides to test drive this new strength by facing off against the punching bag in the corner of his room. Focusing his newly discovered energy, the kid throws an absolute haymaker right at the training gear. The crazy impact sets off a sonic shockwave that rattles the entire building, making the neighbor's dog bark its head off in a panic. Blown away by the damage, the student realizes he's never thrown a punch that hard in his life, proving his stats definitely got a major boost. He never actually expected to get stronger for real, figuring this has to be tied to the monster he just took out. Suddenly, a light bulb goes off in his head as he remembers the telekinesis. With his left eye glowing bright, the MC wonders with pure hype if his dream's mental powers crossed over into reality too. Not wasting a single second, Chenmu locks eyes with his bedroom door to see if he can pop it open using just his brain. Holding his hand out, a brutal burst of golden energy explodes from his body and rips the wood right off its hinges in a flash. Surrounded by glowing sparks, the kid can't hide his excitement after confirming he actually unlocked that legendary power. He thinks it's completely surreal that he's getting so much stronger, just by catching some sleep and dreaming. Clenching his fist tight, the student feels like this new skill is ridiculously overpowered. Right at that moment, the comms device on his wrist starts buzzing. A hologram of his landlady, Miss Ajung, pops up, saying times are tough. She sent back his rent money and asks him to crash there for a few more days. Tapping the virtual screen, the kid answers softly, super grateful that the woman always looked out for him. Suddenly, little Tuanchuan photobombs the call saying she misses him a ton. The little girl begs her big bro not to leave while crying. The MC tells the kiddo to be good, promising to take her out to play as soon as he gets back from visiting his relatives. Fired up, he lets his landlady know he changed his mind. He's gonna keep renting the room so he can lock in for the martial arts exam. Hearing the update, the woman is thrilled and mentions her daughter was throwing a total fit about him moving away. The two of them wish the guy good luck and wrap up the call. The teen chuckles, mentioning the little troublemaker stole her mom's bracelet to play with again, always up to something. Looking at the massive hole where his door used to be, the student sighs, mentally apologizing to the landlady since he's gonna have to clean up that mess. Sometime later, the repair guy finishes fixing things up and takes his tip, totally clueless as to how a localized earthquake only broke the door. Power walking down the sidewalk, Chenmu knows he needs to hit up a pro center as soon as possible to test out his current strength. A massive billboard on the street is playing the news about the Blue Star Destiny Alliance fighting off a monster attack at the borders. The broadcast breaks down how the crew was formed to defend humanity from demon beasts after years of warfare. Run by the Big Five nations, the Alliance is the single safety net keeping the world's defenses from crumbling. Reaching his stop, our MC stands in front of the high-tech, badass front of the Thunder Martial Arts Center. He knows these pro spots became a must-have for fighters wanting to train and get an official read on their vitality. Inside the main lobby, the kid gets a polite welcome right away from the girl at the front desk. She asks if he just wants to rent a room, or if he's looking to hire a sparring partner to throw hands with. Keeping it simple, the teen decides to just rent the space, while the receptionist locks in his booking on the system. She hands over the keycard for room 8 on the second floor, letting him know it runs 200 Blue Star coins an hour. The second the customer turns around, the receptionist scoffs at his basic clothes, figuring he's too broke to afford a partner anyway. Watching the kid disappear down the dark hallway, the worker keeps doubting him, wondering what kind of results he's gonna get all by himself. Once inside the fancy, high-tech testing room, the student gets ready to find out what his actual vitality score looks like. Flames of energy start wrapping around Chenmu's arms the exact second he fires up the machine's strict evaluation. The device's digital screen processes the juice and quickly flashes an insane score of 130.8 calories. Looking at his own fists, Chenmu realizes he totally smashed the 100-calorie requirement needed to be a 1-star fighter. He clenches his shaking hands, totally blown away that a simple dream gave him such a massive boost to his vital energy tank. Not skipping a beat, The kid steps up to the heavy bag to see how many kilograms of force he can pack into a straight punch. Channeling intense sparks down his arm, he launches a devastating strike that caves in the machine's material with crazy power. The screen lights up with 1,480 kilograms. Relieved, the student sees the pro gear actually handled the impact. The MC figures if his speed also hits the required benchmark, he can just march down to the Alliance and pick up his official badge. With his goal set, he hops onto the center's high-tech treadmill and fires up the running test. The machine revs up while the kid blasts off, sprinting so fast his whole body gets coated in streaks of lightning. A minute later, Chenmu leans against the console panting, totally shocked at how taking down that monster leveled him up so fast. A wild idea pops into his head. He starts wondering if demon beasts will keep crashing his dreams as long as he keeps sleeping. With a dark smirk creeping onto his face, the kid admits to himself that he's actually getting pretty hyped for it. He does the math once he goes pro. He'll be pulling in 10,000 coins a month and can go hunting, paying for his mom's healthcare and his sister's training gear. Standing in the middle of the bright room, the teen decides it's probably best to keep his telekinesis under wraps in public, just to be safe. Chenmu figures there's way too much mystery surrounding this dream. Having psychic powers before even becoming an official martial artist is just asking for trouble. With his workout done, our MC casually heads back to the lobby to check out. Out of nowhere, his ex-buddy Wang Yu shows up acting all high and mighty, asking what he's doing in a place like this. The fake friend runs his mouth, guessing the kid came to test the machines because he's salty about failing, and tells him to just give up already. Shooting the guy a serious glare, Chenmu reads between the lines and asks if there's some shady reason behind him getting expelled. Putting on an Oscar-worthy performance, Wang Yu smiles playing dumb and flips the question back, acting like he has no idea what he's talking about. But then, the snake busts out laughing. He claims the student deserved to get booted for crossing Li Tian over some girl. Chenmu looks totally confused as he remembers the two-star heir of the Li family, having no clue when he ever picked a fight with the guy. Then, a memory hits our MC like a truck, making him realize the girl in question has to be Yu Qington. The kid remembers their families have an arranged marriage thing going on, and since she was his sister's classmate, they literally just said hi on the street. He gets super ticked off realizing some big shot held a petty, massive grudge over something so harmless. Wang Yu mocks the MC for only focusing on his books. He spills the beans that the instructor got a fat bribe to kick him out no matter what. With a twisted, evil grin, the backstabber asks sadistically how it feels to lose absolutely everything. Anger takes over Chenmu's eyes. He states he used to see the guy like a brother and was totally blind to his trash personality. A red aura flares up around Wang Yu. The traitor laughs at the word brother, saying he only hung around a loser to follow orders. Covered in sparking energy, Chenmu takes a threatening step forward. He demands to know what his fake friend got out of it, and what he did to ruin him. Wang Yu taunts his ex-friend, telling him to stop fighting it. He guarantees that after being slipped that mystery substance, his vitality is never bouncing back. Shocked by the info dump, Chenmu instantly realizes his crazy power drop wasn't because of his recent nightmares at all. Out of nowhere, the kid furiously grabs the traitor's hand, demanding to know once and for all if he had something to do with him losing his strength. Caught off guard by the sudden move, the fake friend hesitates for a second as he feels the iron grip on his arm, but he quickly gets his cocky attitude back, bragging that even if he is guilty, the student doesn't have a single shred of proof to pin it on him. The scumbag even warns him that snitching to the martial arts cops won't do squat, since nobody in this city is gonna stick their neck out for a nobody. Rage takes over our MC, who squeezes the guy's wrist even harder, turning the vibe in the room super dark and tense. Managing to yank his arm free, Wang Yu laughs at the kid's anger and flexes that he's practically a one-star martial artist, daring him to try something. A little ways off, some nosy students watch the drama unfold, whispering that the poor sucker picking a fight with the prodigy is about to get wrecked. Not wasting any time, the bully charges up an energy punch, promising to teach him a painful lesson about what happens when you mess with him. But Chenmu blocks the strike like it's absolutely nothing, telling him that he's actually the one who should be saying those words. With his eye glowing bright, the student reads his opponent's move, clearly seeing that the attack was slow and full of huge openings. Taking advantage of the gap, the kid is amazed to feel that his current strength as an official fighter is miles ahead of where he used to be. With a quick, precise burst of speed, he throws a heavy counterattack right at his ex-friend's face. The punch lands flawlessly, catching the scumbag completely off guard without a single chance to block. With the devastating impact, Wang Yu's body takes the full force of the hit right in the gut, making him scream in pure agony. Completely dazed and spitting out blood, the traitor has no idea how the other guy got so terrifyingly fast. The ridiculous power of the strike doesn't stop there, launching the bully into the air like a ragdoll. Unable to catch his balance mid-air, he flies headfirst into the lobby's glass door, shattering the whole thing with a massive crash. A thick cloud of dust and glass shards fills the room, leaving only a mysterious silhouette standing in the wreckage. Seeing the student knocked out cold and banged up on the floor, the crowd is stunned that a so-called prodigy got folded so easily. Casually walking through the smoke, the MC looks like an absolute boss while the crowd freaks out over his monstrous strength. Covered in golden sparks, he grabs the jaw, dropped attention of the whole room, who quickly figure out they're looking at the real deal, a true martial artist. Just then, the kid calmly turns his head to the front desk and tells the receptionist to put the busted door on his tab. Shaking in her boots after seeing that display of power, the worker just stutters and nods without a second thought. Stuck in the rubble, the loser tries to crawl away, feeling the heavy sting of getting publicly embarrassed. Super frustrated and bleeding everywhere, he can't accept getting flattened by a guy he thought was total trash. But before he can even finish his villain monologue in his head, Chenmu stomps hard on his head and pins his face back into the dirt. The flattened dude panics and starts screaming that if he gets taken out here in official territory, his attacker is gonna pay the ultimate price too. With an ice-cold glare, the teen ignores the threats and demands to know right now what kind of garbage he slipped him to drain his energy. Trapped with nowhere to run, the fake friend just gulps hard, too chicken to open his mouth and confess. Seeing him stall, the student confirms his gut feeling that this whole thing was a total setup to poison him. The bystanders try to cool things down, saying brawls happen all the time, but catching a body would bring some serious heat. Listening to the crowd's common sense, Chenmu takes his foot off the guy's head and states he was just holding back anyway. He knows perfectly well that if he let loose with his new powers, a single punch would have been enough to send that worm packing for good. Turning his back on the trash on the floor, the MC walks away, mentally swearing he won't let this slide, and is coming for Li Tian. As the kid walks off, the peanut gallery keeps gossiping about how the cocky student got absolutely wrecked. Even though he acted so tough earlier, left in the dust, Wang Yu grinds his teeth with pure hatred, refusing to accept how his victim got so jacked even after getting poisoned. The snake decides to tattle to his bosses as soon as possible, banking on the fact that the loaded Li family runs the city and has some ridiculously overpowered fighters. In his twisted head, the elite hair is gonna squash the MC like a bug without even breaking a sweat. Punching the broken floor in total frustration, he screams his ex-friend's name and vows to make him beg for mercy on his knees. Far away from all that drama, night falls over the north side of the city, blanketing the modest neighborhood where the Chen family lives. Deep in thought on the empty street, the kid connects the dots that his stolen energy put some serious cash in the trader's pockets. Pumped about his next move, he decides he's taking the official exam tomorrow to make some quick cash and move his family to a high-end district. The teen believes the heavy security in the rich area will be the perfect shield to keep the sketchy Li family off their backs. Reaching his front door, his keys jingle, and a familiar, curious voice calls out from inside asking who's home so late. The door swings open to reveal the upbeat Jiru, his genius twin sister, who's totally surprised and stoked about the unexpected visit. Ruffling her hair, he says he missed them, but the girl quickly gets sad, bringing up the nasty rumors she heard about him getting expelled. She gives him a worried look, trying to figure out what kind of massive mess got her personal hero kicked to the curb. Trying to dodge the question, the MC casually takes off his jacket, leaving his sister completely stunned by how ripped he got. Just then, their mom walks in giving their dad a message, and immediately gives her son a loving scolding for not telling them he was coming home. His dad stands up looking worried and asks how his recent tests went, but the kid dodges the heat by begging for food right away. Smiling with relief to see the crew together, the mom takes the bait and rushes to the kitchen, promising to whip up a massive feast. A little while later, the starving teen demolishes an ungodly mountain of food in the blink of an eye, wiping the table completely clean. The parents watch the whole thing sweating bullets, whispering to each other if the boy's appetite was always this terrifying. Happy with the awesome meal, the guy wipes his mouth with his hand, feeling his tank finally topped off after a crazy long day. Getting super serious, he tells his folks he's got some major news and calls an official family meeting. No beating around the bush. The student drops the news that he tested his stats on the pro machines and already hit the 1-star level. The reveal hits the room like a ton of bricks. His sister jumps for joy, while his mom tells him not to joke around about stuff like this. With a confident smirk, the kid doubles down, saying it's the absolute truth and confirms he's taking the official test tomorrow morning. His sister crosses her arms looking a bit confused, remembering that she was always naturally better at this stuff than him since they were little. In her head, she always pictured herself at the top dominating the martial arts scene, and she can't wrap her brain around how he passed her so fast. Relieved by the epic news, His dad flashes a genuine smile and points out that something this awesome didn't need to be kept such a secret. Leaning forward, Chenmu asks his dad to quit his backbreaking job and let him handle all the household bills from now on. The old man stands right up and firmly turns him down, proudly saying he's still got plenty of gas left in the tank for working. The youngest sibling shoots her hand up and joins the debate, promising to snag a scholarship to help out with the monthly expenses. Touched by their stubborn refusal, the MC is left speechless for a second, feeling the deep, warm support of his family. Breaking the heavy vibe, his mom raises her hand super enthusiastically and votes right away in favor of her son's big idea. The instant agreement leaves the dad and daughter duo completely outraged, staring at her in disbelief over the total lack of team loyalty. With a sharp mum glare, she says she knows the boy she raised, demanding to know what the real story is behind all this rush. The teen sighs and decides to spill the beans, revealing he's got a dangerous rich kid on his bad side who might try to hurt his dad at work. Realizing how sketchy the situation is, the old couple takes his safety advice and promises they'll face whatever comes as a team. Fired up by their unconditional backup, the student clenches his fists, dead set on keeping up the grind to protect the people he loves. His sister scratches her head, completely mind blown, trying to make sense of the paradox of a super strong fighter getting expelled on purpose. Suddenly, a light bulb goes off in her genius brain, leading her to the crazy conclusion that he basically unlocked all his power overnight. Later on, in the dead quiet of his dark bedroom, the MC crashes on his bed to chill after a totally draining day. Staring wide-eyed into the shadows, he just lays there processing everything that went down in the last few hours. Just then, the door cracks open, revealing Juru. The girl gives her brother a totally confused look and asks what the heck is really going on. She wants to figure out how he got the boot early in the morning, and somehow leveled up to an official martial artist by nightfall. The kid backs up his story, explaining that he ticked off a big shot and had to keep it on the down low so she wouldn't get dragged into the mess. Gently pushing his sister out of the room, he tells her not to sweat the small stuff with this whole drama. But Shuro flashes a confident grin, reminding him that he'll always have a genius, super strong sister right there to back him up. Chuckling a bit, Chenmu agrees and tells her to go hit the hay, since she has an early class tomorrow. With the door finally shut, the room goes back to pitch black. Laying back down, the student realizes his weakness wasn't because of the nightmares, and wonders if the dream will actually come back. Since his mental grind directly buffs his physical body, he's basically praying a new monster shows up. Calmly closing his eyes, he passes out quickly, ready for the ultimate test. A little while later, the kid wakes up once again in that same trashed, red-tinted dreamscape. Standing in the middle of the rubble, Chenmu gets super hyped, confirming that his personal training ground is still up and running. Out of nowhere, the ground starts shaking, and he notices something massive is closing in through the smoke. Feeling the heavy, crushing pressure in the air, he realizes this aura is ridiculously stronger than the last bug he squashed. The kid stares the danger right in the face laser, focused on finding out who his next sparring partner is going to be. Stepping out of the shadows, a giant demon monkey shows up, covered in black flames and looking terrifying. The monstrous beast beats its chest violently, letting out a deafening roar that rattles everything in sight. Instantly, Chenmu's brain downloads the creature's data, identifying it as a shadow demon ape. The mental screen shows some scary stats, pointing out a massive body with the raw durability of a metal alloy. Just getting a close look at that ugly mug is enough for the student to feel the insane weight of oppression crushing his shoulders. Clenching his fists super tight, he tries to fight off the instinctual fear sending shivers down his spine. Instead of backing down, our MC flashes a cocky grin and charges head-on, inviting the big guy to throw hands. Jumping off the ground with a ton of force, he leaps right at the beast, which roars furiously back at him. Not wasting a second, the giant ape winds up a flame, charge punch to flatten the cocky human. Catching the opening, Chenmu neatly dodges the devastating blow just as the ground explodes from the impact. Spinning in mid-air, the kid realizes with awe that he inherited the perfect reaction speed from the crow he iced earlier. Sticking the landing on the rubble, he channels a massive golden energy around his arm. With his target locked, the student throws a lightning fast punch that lands dead center on the giant's rock hard chest. The kid goes into pure shock as he realizes his max power strike didn't even tickle the beast. With zero chance to pull back, the student eats the shockwave from the block and feels the nasty sting of the impact. Using the distraction, the ape backhands him so hard it sends the MC flying across the battlefield. Sliding across the ruined dirt, Chenmu digs his feet in to hit the brakes, barely managing to steady himself. The two fighters lock eyes from a distance again, sizing each other up through the dust. But the timeout doesn't last long. The beast charges, tearing up the ground in its path with monstrous strength. Sweating bullets, the kid realizes this thing's raw power is operating on a completely different planet. The creature tries to grab him with its giant mitts, but he uses his agility to dodge the swipe by a hair. The ape completely misses and stumps the ground so hard out of pure rage that rocks go flying everywhere. With a quick spin, the monster swings again, totally spooking the teen with how absurdly fast it moves for its size. Completely covered in a killer red aura, the beast locks its bloodthirsty eyes on finishing off its prey. Unable to block this time, Chenmu gets absolutely flattened by a brutal combo of body blows. Jolting awake, he sits up in bed gasping for air, his entire body still aching from the epic beatdown. Slipping on his slippers, the kid smiles like crazy, realizing that even getting wrecked by a high-level boss boosts his stats. Stretching out happily, he figures that in the real world it would mean game over, but in Dreamland, he can respawn as many times as he wants. Checking his mental system stats, the teen confirms the monkey is on the same level as a transcendent human fighter. Because of that ridiculous power gap, he makes peace with the fact he's gonna be catching hands from that thing for a good while. Throwing on his jacket in a hurry, Chenmu decides it's finally time to head to the Alliance and get his official test out of the way. Rolling up to the spot, the kid checks out the packed lobby featuring a massive warrior statue right at the front door. Staring at the heroic figure, the student wonders when he'll have enough juice to reach that exact same level. He thinks warmly about how, despite all the crazy struggles in life, his family and friends always had his back. Strolling down the street, he freezes in his tracks when he sees on the big screen that the neighboring city of Ake just got wrecked by a monster attack. Panic punches him right in the chest when he remembers that sweet Mrs. Zhang and her little girl live exactly in that spot. The news broadcast drops the terrifying civilian casualty numbers and praises the heroes who gave everything trying to stop the horde. Chenmu's eyes go wide with pure terror as he hears the next details of the tragedy unfolding on TV. The reporter coldly confirms that the woman and little Tuanchuan didn't make it out of the rubble left behind by the beastly invasion. The kid drops his head, heartbroken, realizing the little girl going ghost wasn't just her throwing a tantrum. She had actually passed away. With angry tears rolling down his face, he swears he will never let monsters take away the people he cares about ever again. Filled with silent rage, our MC walks into the building, vowing to grind until he stands at the absolute top of the world. In the testing room, the prodigy Yahello smacks the machine with a heavy punch, logging some top-tier energy stats. The proctor gives the girl props for her awesome performance and hands over her well-earned Starfighter badge. Standing tall and proud, the girl snags her official ID plate that proves her brand new status. Right then, the wealthy Herr Letian strolls up trying to look cool, inviting the girl out to celebrate her big win. The background extras around them start gossiping about how they're the ultimate power couple, hyping up the guy for already being at the 2-star level. The group's focus shifts when the lackey Wang Yu spots a very familiar face walking down the hall. The snake immediately scowls and asks sarcastically if his ex-buddy came to the center looking for another free beatdown. Trying to mask his own fear, the scumbag points out that his strength means nothing now, since the big boss Litian is in the building. The young master yells out our MC's name right in the middle of the lobby, grabbing the attention of every single busybody in the area. Glaring at Chenmu with pure venom, the rich kid asks if getting expelled didn't teach him a lesson, and if he's looking to catch a one-way ticket to the afterlife too. Right then, Yahello steps in front of the furious rich boy and says she wants to handle giving the rookie a warning herself. The girl acts super full of herself, telling him to stop using his sister's friendship as a lame excuse to stalk her. Totally ignoring her spicy speech, Chenmu walks right past her, saying he was just passing through and couldn't care less about her. Totally offended by the cold shoulder, the prodigy gets super salty and calls him unreasonable for blowing her off like that. Seeing the rich kid get disrespected, Wang Yu literally shakes with anger, unable to stomach the sheer nerve of this worthless nobody. Trying to score brownie points with his boss, the lapdog charges furiously at Chenmu's back, promising to put him in his place for good. The exam proctor jumps into the middle of the mess yelling in annoyance, warning them that fighting of any kind is strictly banned in the testing zone. Losing his patience, the guy threatens that if they keep bickering, every single one of them will catch a 3-month ban from taking the test. Watching the crowd back off, the proctor sighs in frustration, mentally complaining that kids these days have zero chill. At that moment, Chenmu casually steps up asking to take the test, leaving the older guy pretty impressed with how calm he is before calling him up officially. Watching from a distance, Litian looks suspicious. He remembers that the blood pill has no cure, seriously doubting if the kid actually managed to shake off the poison. The student steps onto the high-tech test platform and slaps his hand on the gear, kicking off his highly anticipated vitality scan. Pure silence drops over the entire gym while everyone waits, but the machine doesn't seem to spit out any kind of result. Jumping on the glitch, the rich hair talks trash, claiming the kid's vitality is so low it can't even get a read absolutely sure his poison did the trick. But then, the machine's monitor starts flashing a bright, glowing red, displaying an insanely fast heartbeat graph. The rich scumbag notices the unexpected flash coming from the platform, losing his cocky vibe, as he totally fails to grasp what's about to happen. Suddenly, a brutal explosion of red and black energy erupts from the machine, covering Chenmu's entire body in a terrifying aura. Mind blown by that ridiculous flex of power, the proctor yells out that the machine only froze because it was trying to calculate an off, the chart's score. The screen finally locks in an insane result of 198 calories, leaving the crowd completely shocked as they stare at numbers fit for a 2-star fighter.